You know, over the past like 2 years since we started playing Monster Hunter and making videos and all that, we've just been really hyping up Monster Hunter 4. When Capcom announced it was getting remastered worldwide, I was pretty excited. And now finally we have a chance to experience it because the demo has been out for a couple days, and honestly I'm convinced that it's one of the best demos of the past several years across any console. I haven't really enjoyed a demo like this since Kingdoms of Amalur in 2012 when that demo came out. But seriously though, 4 Ultimate's demo is amazing. And just so you know, I won't be able to play the demo with any of you online or by myself, in fact, because my 3DS is currently on its way to Japan. But I did go ahead and order a capture kit, so I'm banking on my 3DS being back in time for 4 Ultimate. Maybe I will have some time to play the demo more then. I did spend quite a bit of time playing it before I sent it out though, so I even tried to record some footage by putting my camera at the 3DS. I won't be doing that again, it sucked. I'll be using footage from other channels in the meantime, so you can find links to their channels in the description down below. Thanks to those channels for providing some excellent quality videos. Anyway, back to the demo. The thing that I just think is really super awesome about 4 Ultimate is how you can just play online with other people in the demo. To have that online connectivity just shows that Capcom is really changing their priorities for Monster Hunter. It's not just a single player experience anymore. In fact, the multiplayer is pretty much critical and essential to playing the game effectively in many circumstances. Although the online wasn't too fleshed out, and I experienced plenty of locked rooms, it was cool to experiment with the different weapons alongside other players. But damn, it seems like 70% of the people were using Insect Glaive, and the other 30 were using the Charge Blade. So, what did you all think of the weapons and the combat? Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of the Charge Blade because it only had green sharpness, and I just kept bouncing off the Tetsucabra, unless I was in axe mode. It seemed like a really wasted opportunity because you could only dish out real damage with the axe, and you would just bounce off any other with the regular sword mode. I know it wouldn't be a problem in the actual game once we have a variety of weapons to choose from and sharpness is higher than green, but the Insect Glaive, that thing is pretty neat. It took me a while to get used to it, but buffing yourself with bug powers is pretty cool. There were several buffs that I came across, such as an attack boost, but I'm not sure what the other ones were exactly. I know there was like a white one and a yellow one. I'm assuming that's like a speed and stamina and stuff like that. But I believe the buffs that you get actually depend on where you target the monster, where the bug is, I guess, attached to. But don't quote me on that. The whole jumping thing with the Insect Glaive, it's kind of hit or miss with me. I was having some trouble figuring it out. It's cool and everything, but I was just having a lot of trouble actually grappling onto a monster. I think they need to be knocked down and then you can leap on them. But every other time I leapt, it felt like I just hit an invisible wall around the monster. One thing I noticed about the levels is that there are a ton of ledges and a lot more climbable spots. In fact, it was almost a hindrance in some areas because you'd see the Tetsucabra leap up these giant 50 feet ledges and then you just have to sit there and climb it. The climbing is a lot faster, but it pauses the action for a moment, so it was kind of a bummer. There were a lot of small ledges scattered around, but your hunter goes over them automatically, thank God. And there's the new monsters. I gotta say, the new monsters are pretty freaking awesome. There were 3 available in the demo, the Great Jaggy, the Tetsucabra, and the Gore Magala. Everyone knows the Great Jaggy, but the other 2 are new for hunters outside of Japan. The Tetsucabra is this crazy, like, toad-looking thing. He has these huge tusks. It just loves to pick up these like giant boulders out of the ground and just smash them on people. But it's not a very quick monster. In fact, it wasn't very difficult at all. The Gore Magala, however, was a whole other can of worms. It's a new monster outside of Japan, and it's absolutely terrifying. There's some sort of monster virus in 4 Ultimate, and this Gore Magala is infected. And just imagine like this giant dragon spitting out dark matter and explosions. It almost reminds me of Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. One thing that the 4 Ultimate demo really succeeds at is properly introducing players to the mechanics. The demo for 3 Ultimate got a lot of flack, and it probably scared off a lot of people who were willing to buy the game because it was made for fans of the series and it didn't include helpful tutorials or anything to get players, get their feet wet. 4 Ultimate does the exact opposite, where it offers 2 difficulties actually, one for experienced learners and one for beginners. This way it won't scare off any potential customers and everybody can just kind of pick up and play the game and, learn the mechanics. Initially I was really skeptical of playing on the 3DS, and afterwards my opinion hasn't really changed too much. It is a lot easier than I anticipated, but the thing is my hands are so freaking huge, so they cramp really easily, even with how large the 3DS is. I had a lot of trouble hitting the the L button to target the camera. I just wasn't used to that, and the buttons are so puny, so that was kind of annoying. I did order a Circle Pad Pro XL though, so I think that will help a lot. I still wish it was releasing on consoles, but hey, I'll settle for this. It's not as bad as I was thinking. The second analog stick is just absolutely essential for me to play effectively. And as I said before, I'm not a huge fan of the puny shoulder buttons. The extra girth in the buttons from the Circle Pad will just make it more comfy all around, in my opinion. A lot of times demos will come out and they hardly feature any content, and definitely don't give an idea of how the game plays. Actually, one of the very first videos I ever made on this channel was about what makes a good demo, and Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate clearly gives hunters an idea of what to expect. Hats off to Capcom for making an awesome demo, making me even more excited for Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. So there you go, you have my thoughts on the 4U demo. Thanks to everybody who has been watching my videos the past few weeks. We've grown a lot, and I'm just really glad that we're having some intelligent conversation in the comments, because nobody likes those YouTube trolls. By the way, some people don't have a reply button under their comments, so I can't reply to them. I'm not sure how to fix this. I think it's something with Google Plus in the settings, so you might want to check that if nobody has been replying to your comments. Because typically I try to answer as many as I can, but sometimes I don't. There's no reply button, so I can't reply to it. Also, I did distribute the demo codes out to a few lucky commenters with your pretty awesome puns. I had 4 of them to give away, so I sent the winners messages through YouTube, so check your messages, maybe you'll find a demo code in there. Anyway, we're in the final stretch, just a couple more weeks, and you can expect a new video from me later this week, so I will see you then.